Welcome back everyone to Blender and Unreal Engine, becoming a dungeon prop artist, and this is where we left it off. Now let's go back to modeling. Let's also hide out our materials. So I'm just going to hide all those out, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come here. Let's create the plate first. So I'm just going to create a simple, let's have a look, a simple cylinder. I think the cylinder's not coming in, and the reason it's not coming in, by the way, if you have something like that, is because it's actually coming in here. So if I come down, you'll see that if I unhide this, you can see my cylinders there. And the other reason is because I am actually in edit mode, and I just didn't realize. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl Z. I'm going to then press Tab. I'm going to then hide this out of the way, and hopefully now when I bring in my new cylinder, so Shift A, let's bring in a cylinder. It should come in, and it's come into mugs and plates, which is absolutely fine. Now, one problem we have with this cylinder is it's on 32 vertices. We just want it on 16 like so, and then I'm just going to make it smaller. Now, what I tend to do when I create like plates and things like that is, I know this is a silver plate. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. You just press Tab, grab the top of it, press Shift D, and just split it away from the rest of it. And then all I do is I go in, L, delete vertices, and you should be left with something like this. I like working like that. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press E, Enter, S, and I'm just going to bring it out like so, pull it up, and then I'm going to delete this face. So delete and faces, and there you go. You see, you should end up with something like that. Now I'm just going to go around the edge and create that edge on there. So I'm going to grab it, I'm going to press E, Enter, S, bring it out, and there we go. Now let's create some kind of artifacts on here, so some bits that are a little bit out. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, let's say this bit on here, so Control R, left click, right click, and then Control B, and just pull it out. So we've got a nice bevel on there. And then all I'm going to do, I'm not actually going to do yet, I'm going to pull it out in the long run, because I need to give this some thickness first. So the other thing I'm going to do as well is I'm going to give one on the inside. So I'm going to press I, bring it all the way in, like so. And then I'm going to press Control R, and just bring in a few edge loops, like so. Left click, right click, and then I'm going to come to this one, Alt Shift click, and then Control B. So they are the ones where I'm going to pull them out, something like that. All right, so now we could use the solidify modifier, but we could also just grab it and just press E and pull it down to give it some thickness. Now it doesn't need to be very thick. It is actually a silver plate after all. So I think that'll actually do. We don't actually need to mess around with the modifier. Now let's come in and grab the outside. So I'm going to press Alt Shift and click. I'm just going to press E then, and just pull it up like so, and then I'm going to come to this one, Alt Shift click, and just press E and pull it up like so, and you should end up with something like that, and that looks pretty nice. Now we could really make this a little bit intricate, but I think at this stage in the course we should just focus on those modeling skills. All right, so let's press Control A, let's reset all the transforms, right click, set origin to geometry, and there we go. Let's move that to the side. Next one, let's create a diamond. Okay, so let's press Shift A. I'm going to bring in let's have a look what we're bringing in. Let's bring in, I think we can get away, with bringing in a cylinder. I think we'll bring in a cylinder. We'll turn it down to something like 9. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, and I think actually that should do it. If I bring in a cylinder of 9 edges, I think that'll be enough. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, of course, make it smaller. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come down the bottom, grab the bottom of it, I'm going to press S, bring it in, like so. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the top, I'm going to press E, and bring it in, and then S, like so. And you can see really easy to actually make one. Now the other thing about this is we should really put some actual bevels on this, because that then will accentuate how much this actual shine gives off. So I'm just going to pull it up a little bit more and bring it in a little bit more and just make it a little bit more diamond-like. And then I'm going to press Control A, Alt Transforms, right click, set origin to geometry. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put on the cavities. So I'm going to go into Object. I'm just going to make sure it's on. Yes, it is. All right, so now what I'm going to do is come to my modifier, add in a bevel. I'm probably going to turn this down to 0.003. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, and I think that looks really nice. The other thing with the diamond is I do want to make it a little bit smaller, but when I'm actually making it smaller, I don't tend to make it smaller in this part of it, and the reason is because I want to be able to see them. If I make them really dinky, the size of diamonds or something, you're never going to see them. So I just tend to make them just a slightly bit smaller, like so. All right, so that's the actual diamond. Now let's make a let's make a sapphire, so a blue sapphire, something like that. So what I'll do is I'll make it like a kind of double-sided sapphire with maybe get away with a few more edges on it. So let's press Shift A. Let's bring in another cylinder, and then let's turn up this to, let's say 11, something like that. Let's squish it in, so S, like so, and then what we'll do is we'll make this like double-sided. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab the top and the bottom, and we press E and then S and Z and pull them out. If they don't pull out, just make sure that you've got them on medium point. So S and Z, pull them out, and then make sure that you've got them on individual origins, and then you'll just be able to push them in like so. And there we go. All right, so I'm happy with how that looks. Maybe, should we actually bevel off this? So I'm just going to try beveling off each of these with Control B. I just want to see what it actually looks like. Yeah, I don't think I like it. I think I like it a bit more hard-edged. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's press Control A or Transforms, right-click to Origins Geometry, add in a modifier, bring in a bevel, and let's bring it down to 0.003, like so. All right, so that is my sapphire, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's just a piece of treasure, and that's what we're trying to create here. So, all right, let's put that there. Now, let's create a opal. So we're going to create an opal next. So with an opal, I'm going to probably start with a cube, actually. So Shift A, let's bring in a cube. Let's make it a little bit smaller. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to bevel the sides of it like so. So if I grab the edges here, like so, and then just press Control B and just bevel them. Yeah, like that. And then we'll just pull out these edges here. So I'm going to press E, enter, make sure I'm on medium point, S and X, pull them out, and then I'll come in and actually bevel those off, I think. Or we could bring them in, it's up to you. Let's press Alt Shift click on both of these, press Control B, and just bevel them in like so. Yeah, and I think actually that looks absolutely fine. Just going to rotate this one a little bit. I think we can see it better like so. Yeah, and that actually looks like an opal, so I'm pretty happy with that. All right, with this one, do I want to bevel it off? Let's press Control A, all transforms, Origins Geometry, bevel it off, 0.003. Yeah, and I think it looks better like that. Let's bring it over then to the rest of our treasure. So 7, let's press S, bring it down, and put it into place. I should be putting them really on the actual ground plane. So I'm just going to take a little bit of extra time, form the ground plane, like so, and the plate, like so. Now, let's come to well, I've got a goblet, so let's actually start the goblet, and then we can move on to the necklace. So if I press Shift A, let's bring in a cylinder again, and I'm going to put this cylinder, let's say, on something like 16. I'm going to bring it down with S. I'm going to press 1, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it up like so. I'm going to grab the bottom of it because I do want it coming in just very slightly. So S, bring it down like so. And now I want it to come in, but actually I want a nice slant when it comes in. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to press I, and then I'm going to press E and pull it nearly down to the actual floor. So something like that, and I'm going to worry about actually shaping this in a minute. First of all, I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab all of these edges. Now the thing is, if I bevel this off now, we know that it won't bevel off properly because we've not reset the transform. So I'm going to press Tab, Control A, all transforms, right click, Origins Geometry, and now I'm going to actually bevel it off, and you can see it bevels off much better. I'm actually probably going to turn up the amount of segments on here as well, so something like that. And I'm also going to just lift it up just a little bit. Now what I'm also going to do is I'm going to actually bevel off the inside of here because it's too sharp going up. So I'm going to press Control B like so, and now you can see again that nice slope. Last of all then, I need to do the stem of the actual goblet. So I'm going to come in, Control R, let's bring in 3 edge loops. So left click, right click, and then just make sure proportion editing is on. Press the S button, and then bring in these parts here, like so. And you can just see how nice and smooth that actually is. Might take you a few attempts to actually get there, but you can see how easy it is to do that. Now, let's think about the bottom. So I'm going to grab the bottom like so, I'm going to pull it down with E, like so. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come, make sure I'm on face select, Alt Shift click. I'm going to press E, Enter, and then Alt and S without proportion editing on. So Alt and S, and what that'll do is it'll pull it out straight for me, like so. Just make sure that it's not too big. On my original, I think I made it probably a little bit too big, maybe a little bit bigger, something like that. And now what we can do is we can come and we can bring the sides of here and just bevel it off. So Alt Shift click, Control B, and let's see if we can actually bevel it off, like so. Yeah, and I think I'm actually much happier with this one, how it actually looks. It just looks a lot better. The one thing I'm concerned about is maybe, just maybe, I've made this a little bit too thick, and I should be bringing it down. So I'll fix that actually. So what I'll do is I'll come in, I'll grab the center of here, press Control plus, and then what I'll do is I'll just bring it up, like so. Control plus, bring it up, and then Control plus, Control plus, Control plus, and then I can bring that down into place, like so. Let's press 1, bring it down into place, and there we go. Yeah, I think that just looks a ton better. Now, the one thing that we need to do is we need to give this some thickness. So I'm going to come in, and I'm going to just grab the center. I'm going to grab the center actually, so the center of here, Alt Shift click, and then grab the top of here, press Delete, and faces, and there we go. Now, the reason I've done that is, of course, that I need to give this some thickness, and to give it some thickness, I need it to be basically a plane. I want it to be 2-dimensional, which it is now, and then we're going to create a 3-dimensional piece. All right, everyone, but we'll do that on the next one. So I hope you're enjoying it, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.